Hi, beautiful people. Welcome back to another episode of You're Welcome. Thanks for joining me today. When you're building the life of your dreams, it can be so easy to feel frustrated because you see such a great future for yourself, but that's just not where you are currently. In today's episode, I want to talk about steps and things that I do to remind myself that I'm getting there faster than I think that I am, and to enjoy the present moment, to feel more gratitude for the present moment, and to prepare myself for what's to come. Hi, if you're new here, my name is India, and this channel is mostly focused around inner work and self-love, building self-worth, and just overall feeling well. So let's get into it. If you haven't already, I would love a subscribe if you're on YouTube, and if you are listening on Spotify or Apple, would love a follow, love a download, anything of that nature. But let's get started. Okay, so this episode I wanted to make because I have been feeling like this lately, and I feel like a lot of us have felt like this, especially if you're on my channel and you've been doing the inner work, you've been having those aha moments, you've been taking those inspired action, you see your life drastically changing from day to day. But it can still be frustrating because you're like, wow, I feel like I've done so much and I've made so much progress. Why am I not seeing everything right now, right? And again, it's easy, especially now with all of social media and us and our desire for instant gratification. And sometimes we have to realize that the best things are built over time. Like Rome was not built in a day. And that is such a corny expression, but it's so true. And so I wanted to provide some things that I do in order to stay grounded and to know that no, my life is changing. And even if I don't see it, doesn't mean that it's not happening. It's so easy to be hard on yourself about where you are compared to somebody else. And this is why they also say, why am I full of corny things today? But that comparison is a thief of joy. And it really is, because you can't compare your journey to someone else's. This is not a race. This is if anything, a personal race between you and you. And so the goal is to every day get better. And so if you're making progress, kudos to you. And if you haven't seen that progress materialize in the 3D world, that does not mean that it's not happening. An expression that I love to tell myself is, just because I don't see it doesn't mean that God isn't working, because it's so true. It all starts in the 4D realm, right? It all starts with your mental health. It all starts with your mindset. And that's why I say it's so important to work on your mindset, because the more you work on your mindset, the easier and quicker it is to shift between negative and positive thoughts. And that's the goal, to move faster between, to be able to redirect and reframe and allow our conscious mind to dream bigger so that our subconscious can get to work and be in collaboration with God and with spirit team, source, whatever you want to call it, to make our dreams come true. Because even in moments where you feel that frustration or that angst, you know that you are worthy. You know that you are worthy of every single thing that you want, and that if it's not this, it's something better. And so you work through it faster. And you know, it's just all a matter of time. It's literally all a matter of time. So that is my first reminder to you. If you're doing the inner work, it is all a matter of time. Remind yourself that even though you are actually grateful, you are grateful. You're allowed to feel dissatisfied with where you are, and that is completely okay. Allow that dissatisfaction to motivate you and to propel you to dream bigger and to know, like, oh wow, I'm not where I want to be yet, but that doesn't mean that I can't get there. That doesn't mean that I'm not worthy. I know that I'm worthy. And so I want more. I want more in life. And that's fair. You know, I love knowing that I can be as ambitious as I want. And just because last year I prayed to make XYZ amount a month doesn't mean that I want to stay there. I don't want to be stagnant. And it is so okay to be a person who is always wanting more and more and more. I think society always tries to tell us to be humble and to not desire for so much, to not want money, to not want that dream guy or girl, to not want that dream career. And that is so frustrating, if anything, because who said that you're not allowed to want more for yourself at any point in time? You're allowed to be as big and as like anything that you want to be. You are allowed to do that. You don't have to be stagnant. Just because there are people in your life who choose to be stagnant, who choose not to do the work, doesn't mean that has to be you too. And I think when you encounter moments like this, whether you're hearing from other people, like you're wanting too much, like you need to be grateful for where you are, and you're starting to feel that shame about being dissatisfied with where you are, it's important to ask yourself questions. So that's number 2, is asking yourself questions. I'm really big on being the gentle observer of my mind and always asking myself why. Why do I feel that way? Well, why do I feel that way? Where does that stem from? And whether you do this with yourself, or you do this with a therapist or a ally, you know, a friend who is going to shoot it to you straight but also is doing the same inner work as you. A big question that I asked myself is, what can I change right now? What can I control? And a lot of times there are things that are within your control, whether that is changing your mindset or changing certain habits that you have. So for example, I want to feel more gorgeous. I have woken up recently and felt like, I'm not exactly where I want to be when it comes to my body, right? And that's not to say I'm like Porky the Pig or Rasputia out here from Nutty Professor Child. Is that from Nutty Professor? No, that's from Big Mama. Norbit, that's where that's from. But either way, I'm not Rasputia out here, but at the end of the day, even if I were, I am still worthy just as I am. But what can I do to get myself from point A to point B? What can I control? And so you know what I did? I made a Post-it. And I put it on my bathroom mirror to remind myself to do the self-care things that make me feel good. Whether that's working out, taking my vitamins, doing my wood sculpting on my body, whether that is taking an everything shower or tinting my eyebrows, going to get a wax, going to get laser hair removal, going to get my Botox, whatever it is, I made a list of the things that are important to me that are gonna make me feel more beautiful and remind myself of how beautiful I am. I put that on my mirror. And I asked myself, what am I doing currently that is not in alignment with who I want to be? That's an important question to ask yourself, and to dream about who your future self is. Because when you're able to see like, oh, this is my future self wouldn't be eating chips at 11 p.m. every day. My future self wouldn't be having that sweet treat every night. And this is, you know, just speaking for myself. My future self would be working out consistently, whether that's 3 times a week, 4 times a week, 5 times a week. My future self would be putting good things into her body. My future self would be making sure to take her vitamins. The list goes on. But when you do the things that your future self would do, you are closing the gap between who you are now and who you want to be. And that's really the goal. So I do a lot of reviewing and I do a lot of journaling. I review, what am I doing wrong? Or not wrong, but what am I doing that is not in alignment? And I ask myself, what can I do better? I journal about it and I release it. I don't hold on to it. I don't sit here and shame myself. I don't label myself as this fat girl who can't get it together. I allow myself to have a reset, and that is so important. And a great way for us ladies to have a reset, if you're a woman, a man, I'm sorry, I can't help you. But if you're a woman, a great way to reset is after your period, because that's a whole new cycle of hormones, but it's also a whole new cycle of you, right? So that is a great time to have a moment of clarity and to get back on track right after your period. And I mean, that's when you're feeling your best anyway. We have our best hormones. We feel pretty. We're just in that great mood. So highly recommend having that reset after your period. Okay, and number 3 is resting more. Resting on your laurels. I know they say don't rest on your laurels. I don't even know what that means technically, child, but rest. I have talked so much on my podcast in the past 2 episodes. If you have not watched them or listened to them, it's all about like having a better nervous system and getting your nervous system back on track, and habits that you can create to have a better and calmer nervous system and to release the anxiety. I can reiterate over and over and over again how beneficial slowing down is. Because when you do things with a sense of urgency, when you do things in a sense of I'm running out of time, or I need to rush, or, you know, with an impatient mind, you're not doing yourself a service, because you're not acting from a place of love. You're not acting from a place of trust and and of faith and of positivity. You're coming from a place of lack and fear. Like, I need to do this right now. So really challenge yourself when you are in the middle of doing things, and just knowing your processes. Like, I know when I am doing something because I'm moving in fear. For example, I'm in real estate. If I have a deal and it falls through and I'm immediately like, okay, I need another client right now, and I'm mass texting and I'm doing all these things and I'm overwhelmed and frustrated, I'm gonna get less out of that than by just resting and saying, you know what, that's fine, let me take a beat. Take a beat. Allow yourself to take a beat, and know that in taking a beat, you're doing yourself a better service than by rushing. And when you take the time to rest, when you take the time to just reflect. You're allowing yourself to have those aha moments and those moments of creativity, those moments of inspired action that just pop into your brain and you're like, whoa, that's actually a great idea. And the more you rest, the more you have energy to actually take those inspired actions and to do those things that are going to actually propel you in the right way, because you're moving from a place of abundance, you're moving from a place of knowing, you're moving from a place of worthiness, you're moving from a place of calmness, right? And that is a way better place to be than to be doing things in fear and in lack. Okay, and the last step for me is to reframe and to build on my positivity stack. Now, my positivity stack, I talk about this a lot in my podcast as well. And it is just a stack of experiences that you build to remind yourself of A, how far you've come, B, who you are, and C, that everything is gonna be okay. When you're having those moments of frustration, you can get back on track by recalling moments when you had these similar frustrations, and by maintaining your mental health, by maintaining your emotional regulation, by maintaining your faith, how good things follow that. Because when you trust your journey, good things always happen. Inevitably. For example, this time a couple of years ago, and it's so funny, I was telling my friend Kelly about this on the phone, yapping of course, and I was like, 2 years ago, Christmas this time, I was boohoo in tears. Like, I just felt like such a loser because I wasn't making the money that I wanted to make. I wasn't in a relationship. I just felt so behind everyone else. I'm watching all my friends and their careers just doing so well, and they're getting married and having kids. And I'm just like, well, what am I doing? And I remember my mom told me, she was like, take the pressure off of yourself. You are way more ahead than you think that you are. And really, in those cases, the biggest thing that you can do is maintain and do the inner work to better your mindset. So did I persist? Yes. And did life get better? Yes. And now things are so night and day. Like, I was just begging, not begging, obviously, child, but I was just in my head about like, why is real estate not going well? Like, why do I have these months where nothing happens, and then I have these great months? Like, why? How can I get back to feeling stable? Like, how can I build the stability? And now I have no worries about that, child. Like, I have done so well this year, and even last year I had a commercial deal that changed my life, honestly. And because of that, I know that when I have these moments of frustration, something really good is going to happen. And it's my job to maintain my mindset. It's my job to encourage myself. It's my job to stay faithful. It's my job to trust that good things are coming. And just because I don't see it in the 3D doesn't mean that it's not happening in the 4D. Because again, it all starts in the heavens. It all starts in the 4D atmosphere, right? And then the more you work on yourself, the more you trust, the more you have faith, the more you pass these quote unquote tests, the easier it is to manifest and to bring those ideas and those goals and those dreams into fruition. And so yeah, 2 years ago, this time, I was a little bit hard on myself, but I wasn't nearly as hard on myself as I was the year before that, or the year before that, or the year before that, because every single year the goal is to get better and to feel quicker and to be quicker at changing my mindset, to reframing and getting back on track. And the quicker you can get your mind back on track and your mental health back on track, the easier and the quicker it is to manifest. And again, I'm a living example of that. Like, I used to have moments where I would get so hard on myself about a deal not falling through, or a deal falling through, and I would just be in my slump for days. And now I'm like, okay, what's next? I had to start telling myself, okay, what's next? And literally something great always happens because I trust, and I'm not hard on myself because I know things happen. Life's not perfect, but guess what? I'm still gonna persist, and I'm still gonna make it, and I'm still gonna have everything that I've ever desired. I know it's hard. It's easier said than done at first. And I can say that because, again, I have been in your shoes. If you are listening to this or watching this and you just feel like an utter failure, or that life is just not lifing for you in the right way, know that good things are happening, and good things happen when you believe and trust and know that you are worthy of good things to happen to you. When you allow yourself to dream bigger, when you allow yourself to work through those frustrations, when you allow yourself to feel dissatisfied and to feel angst about where you want to be. that is not a bad thing. We are human beings. And I used to feel so hard on myself when I would be like, oh my gosh, I'm wavering, because the manifestation world will always use that word like, oh, if you waver too much, you're not going to get what you want. And that is, I'm not going to say it's a crock of BS, but you can feel then anxiety about like, oh my gosh, but now I'm wavering and I'm definitely not going to get it. Now things are definitely not going to work out. And it's like, dude, relax, relax. You have to take a deep breath and learn to reframe and shift your perspective. And instead of saying like, oh, I'm wavering or I'm having these negative thoughts, remind yourself, I'm a human being and it's normal to have negative thoughts, but I always bounce back, and I bounce back quicker every single time I experience those frustrations. Every single time I feel like life isn't happening for me, I remind myself, it is. And I look at these positive stack of experiences and I say, because look at this example, look at when this happened, look how this happened, look at this happened. And that's also how beneficial journaling can be, or at least creating a note app of like all these times that the universe had your back. Because whether you believe it or not, spirit team always has your back. But a lot of times they can only do but so much for us if we don't believe that we deserve it. And if you don't believe that you deserve it, they just gonna be like, okay, child, well, if you're settling for that, then I guess that's what you want. But when you say, no, I want more, I'm grateful, but I'm not satisfied, and I'm going to keep striving for what I want. I'm going to trust that the better I get, the better life gets. The better my mindset gets, the better I get. I'm going to trust that everything is happening in divine time, and that all these mistakes happen for a reason, that all these things happen to teach me to be where I am now. And when you trust in that, you allow spirit to work in magical ways for you. And so just to reiterate the steps, remind yourself that it is okay to be dissatisfied. Feel grateful, but it's okay to not be satisfied, and to lean into that for motivation and to increase your discipline. Reflect on what you're doing that is not in alignment with your future self and make those changes. Remind yourself that we are only human beings and we are allowed to feel these frustrations, but to work on our mindsets to shift faster from negativity to positivity. Allowing yourself to rest more, knowing that when you rest, you allow inspired actions to find you and to make that and build on that positivity stack. Because when you build on that positivity stack, you have all these reminders of how the universe had your back, how your spirit team had your back, how God had your back, whatever you want to call it, right? And that allows you to trust that they have not failed you, that they are not failing you. They are always here for you. They're always here for us, guys. And that is truly how I have been able to stay encouraged, right? To know that I have my back, right? I have my back. I'm doing everything I can to do the inner work to be better, to lift my spirits, to feel worthy, to love myself, right? And so when I meet God halfway, beautiful and magical things happen. Well, that is all for today's episode. I hope that it was very inspirational. That was the goal. I really felt like spirit moving through me this episode, because I'm so passionate about doing the inner work. And I'm in Ludio, so I could cry right now. I'm not gonna cry. But just the way that my life has made such a shift is unbelievable. And I'm excited to see what's next. And I too, like I said, I'm a human being and I have these frustrations still. Like, we're not perfect people and we're not supposed to be. But when you can reframe and you can allow yourself to know that you are worthy, you are changing your life step by step, even if you don't see it yet. I'm going to reiterate, if you are here and you have not subscribed and this episode moved you or you felt inspired from listening to me, please leave a comment, ask me some questions. My email is in the link. If you need some extra inspiration, I'm more than happy to provide it. Please subscribe to my channel. It is at India Simone on YouTube, and it's You're Welcome with two L's for You're Welcome on Spotify and Apple. Because the more subscribers I have, the more downloads I have, the more 5-star ratings I have, the more people can find me in the algorithm, and the more people can feel inspired too. As always, hope that you guys have a great weekend, and I will talk to you guys next week.